everything is awful, but there are, like, we will find the small joys.
Tiny joys.
Tiny joys. Just keep going. Keep finding those stupid tiny joys.
Welcome to Nerdlandia.
Welcome to Nerdlandia, where we adore spending hours at a local indie bookstore. I'm your host, Emily Case Buskirk. Our latest guest is Tory, the owner of Sower Books in Lincoln. Now, the second I stepped foot in her store, the energy felt so welcoming and invigorating. I connected with tons of the books, whether they were titles I read and loved recently, or ones I spontaneously decided to buy. I was so thrilled to have her on the podcast to discuss our favorite reads of this year, the store's adorable foster cats, and why Sower is the perfect moniker for the space. Tory, welcome to the podcast.
Hello, Emily. So glad to be here with you.
I just saw that you got your special indie bookstores icon / illustration this weekend. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. It is a Midwest bookstore tradition. We have in our regional association, this one artist does little doodles of all of the stores. And once you're part of the association, you get to have that doodle as like your icon. And It's like really fun going to bookstore conferences, and you can just tell, or like if you're scrolling through Insta or something, it's like, I recognize the style of that doodle. They must be Midwest. Like, add them to the friends.
Yes, it's a rite of passage.
Absolutely,
it's
it is.
Such a cool thing. Okay, well, to get started, I kind of wanted to ask you about something that I see on your social page, which is that, like, when you do features of people, you're like, this is the only book they sell, which is, like, kind of a joke and kind of not. So what's that book for you?
Probably for me, it'd be The Search for Delicious by Natalie Babbitt. You might know that author. She wrote Tuck Everlasting, like way back in the day, and it's like its 50th anniversary, I think. But it is this like super short, super sweet, cozy fantasy that is so good for all ages. It is my number one palate cleanser. Like, oh, the world is terrible. I just need to like sit in a patch of sun and read this book. And it's very simple. Everything in the kingdom is great. The court scribe is writing a dictionary. And everything's perfect until he gets to the letter D. And he's like, the definition of delicious is like an apple picked right off the tree. And the king is like, excuse me, the definition of delicious is my wife's chicken casserole. And they start getting in this like heated conversation. So they send like the errand boy out into the towns to take polls of all of the villagers and like, what is the definition of delicious? And of course, then you've got like someone behind the scenes like fomenting dissent, and you end up like there's some mermaids involved and some trolls, and it is just this like charming tiny fairy tale that takes maybe like an hour or two to read. And anytime someone's like, oh my god, everything about the world is the worst, I'm like, here you go, take this lovely little story, yes, that no one knows about, and like I will just, and because it's technically a children's book, it costs like under $10, and I'm like, oh
nice.
There you go. Here,
incredible.
Take your little like $8.99 dose of happiness.
I love that. That is so delightful in all of the ways. Mine would probably have to be The Serviceberry by Robin Wall Kimmerer. Ooh. I've been obsessed with that book, and I just cannot shut up about it. I've already promoted on the podcast, so if you're hearing this again, then this is your sign that you need to go read it already.
Absolutely. I've had Braiding Sweetgrass on my list for a long time.
That one's great too.
Yes. Have you read The Seed Keeper by Diane Wilson?
No.
Okay, so it is fiction, but it is very much in the indigenous tradition and the like looking 7 generations down the line about what the choices we make, like how that impacts people. And it was a really well done. The last couple of years I was on the One Book, One Lincoln committee for the Lincoln City Libraries. And The Seed Keeper was one that we really, really wanted to push to like the top 3. And the only reason we couldn't was like a distribution problem with the library channel. So it didn't get quite like the hype that it deserved. Yeah. But definitely The Seed Keeper, Diane Wilson, is also just a great, like, connecting with nature and recognizing your place in, like, the broader scheme of everything.
Oh, hell yeah. Okay, that sounds amazing. Adding that to my TBR immediately. Congrats on your 1-year anniversary. That is incredible. Love to see that.
Thank you. I very much cannot believe it has been only a year. Like, it's already been, like, okay, that's cool. But like the amount of things that we've been able to do in it, like we had 2 different Taylor Swift parties in one calendar year. Like, come on. Yeah, it's been wild. It has been so much fun, and the community has really absolutely come out and shown us that they care about having independent bookstores in their community.
And that makes my heart so happy because like Lincoln has a bunch of bookstores already. So it's just great to see that it's like, yes, there's room for all of this. It's not just like, oh, we already have an independent bookstore. It's like, no, we need more.
Exactly. Well, and that was honestly, Emily, that was a little of my hesitation. I used to work out in Seward, half an hour down I-80 to the west, at the bookstore chapters down there. And I was there for 4 years. And we started having the conversation, myself and the then owner, Carla, about what succession might look like. And at one point I had like kind of scoped around Lincoln, was like, I'm not sure there's space for another bookstore in Lincoln. But then I kept like, if you look at the map, every single bookstore in town, including Barnes & Noble, are either within 1 block north of O Street or south. There is absolutely nothing to the north of O Street, out, you know, like 1 block to the, like from P Street up. There's nothing out there. And I was like, you know what? Yes, we have various bookstores that fill various needs, but like there's just a missing quadrant. And there's also a little bit, there's a dearth of libraries in that space as well. Like, but yeah, so like there's a little bit of a word desert to that extent. And then getting slotted into the Meadowlane community and being next door to Lincoln Vintage Vinyl, like vinyl lovers and book lovers. Power couple
right
there. My goodness. And then here is like the absolute kicker, did not even put 2 and 2 together. Having the Ace Hardware in our shopping center. For me even, my spouse is not a record guy. He's not a book guy. Oh my God, yes, he's a hardware store guy. And so the spouses of this like Venn diagram of a record store and hardware store, like it's perfect. It is perfect. Yeah. And that's very much he'll come to the store and like, I know he doesn't really want to be there for like the books. He is there for the cats because of course.
Yes, go for the books, stay for the cats.
I'm just going to like wander down the way and see if I find myself like a new tool I might need. Like, all right, cool.
For real. So I wanted to ask though, what are you most proud of accomplishing in that first year then?
The connections have been incredible. The friends we've made, all of like that. But in something that I can put like a hard number value on, it would be the fact that in 1 year of being open, we have helped 21 cats find their forever homes in the community. Yes. 21 kittens or cats of all cats are kittens. But
all cats are babies.
All cats are babies. ACAB, I say it every single day. All cats are babies.
Yes.
Also always carry a book. Like ACAB has a myriad meetings and they are all valid.
All the things, yes.
But yes, 21 cats have come through our doors and gone home to forever homes. And now then like they're still there. We've got 2 in the store right now, Gilbert and Foxy.
Fantastic.
They're so sweet.
They're great
such
babies.
Good babies. Yeah. And right now I actually have a former store cat was then adopted by a friend of mine, and said cat is now staying with us for a week while their parent is on vacation. And I was like, little baby coming home for a visit. Yes.
So the cat remembers you, I'm guessing then?
So far, yeah. Like it seems so like it. It's out of. We had a tradition where she had a cat tree, and I would pat on the top of the cat tree and go, kisses for tiny baby, tall for kisses, come up tall for kisses.
Oh my gosh.
We don't have the cat tree right now, but like she seems to be going to that area, and I'm like, oh, what if you hop up on the table? Is the table tall enough for kisses?
Is that close enough?
I will give you kisses. But I think we're gonna get there in the next couple days when we like, all right, we'll find something that you can summit. Yes. And then I will give you kisses on your little head.
We can continue this beautiful tradition.
Yeah. Like, come on, tiny baby. This is our thing. Don't leave me hanging.
Okay, so yes, we've established that you have this cat program. I saw that you also had a goat storytelling. That I just love all of these ideas and how they seem so random, but they're all just like coming together in this one space. That's amazing.
It's very much like I come by it naturally. My mom is a teacher librarian. Like I'm a library kid. Libraries are for everyone. There's something for everyone under the roof. And so when someone shows up and they're like, hey, like I'm a tarot reader. Could I like do tarot readings out of your store? I'm like, well, yeah, heck yeah. Like I got extra space. You might as well use it. I'm not using every square foot of this space.
Absolutely.
Same with, like goat story time. Well, we have cats in the store. Like, what's the difference with like a goat? And the goat had a little goat diaper. The goat actually had several goat diapers in different patterns, including one that was like spooky skulls and spider webs. And so
spooky season themed.
Mark your calendars. We are planning on doing a costumes encouraged goat story time on Halloween. So
heck yes.
Yeah, put that on the calendar.
We all just need that dose of joy right now.
Oh my God.
Much.
Like,
so much. We need the whimsy. We need to come together and just like
love on a tiny animal.
Yeah, like lose our minds over a cute goat.
Yes. Yeah. Like we very much, the entire store, none of us has an iota of chill. We are all just like, there's a thing. I love it so much. Our quote unquote DEI hire is a cis white dude.
Yes.
All the rest of us, like we're on some shade of like the spicy queer spectrum. And our DEI hire, Tim, who is also
it's like
Tim,
the most like
Tim
standard name.
Exactly, just like generic dude bro. But at the same time, he is like an uber dork, and like he will be talking about Star Wars, and he's like, "Look, I have goosebumps! I'm so excited about this!" We're like,
precious.
Even the dudes, like the big Tim dude who was in the frickin' Marines, is like, I'm so excited about a thing that I have to show you that I've got goosebumps.
Yes. Why those are my people.
Right? Like, why dial back? There is so little enthusiasm in the world. Like, let's be very big dorks about the things we love.
100%. So to back up a little bit, I wanted to get some backstory. What was the experience of bringing a bookstore to life? What was that like for you? I just feel like that's something that so many people aspire to or daydream about, and then it just doesn't actually happen.
Yeah, no, that's super valid. I will admit I did not know what an independent bookstore was until I started working at one here in Lincoln in 2016. Yeah. And it used to be Indigo Bridge. It was down in the Haymarket for a while. Yeah. So they have since closed, but I started working there, and I was like, I had started to go back to school to become a librarian like my mom. I literally dropped out the first day of like syllabus time. I looked at the syllabus and was like, teaching about teaching? Like, like this is it's so infuriatingly meta, and I don't have time for this. Like, yeah. So I dropped out of grad school and like literally ran into a friend on the street and was like, yeah, I dropped out of grad school. I guess I'll like go apply at Barnes and Noble or something. Cause what I want to do is work with books, but like not in like the broad sweeping aspect that librarians do, because like all hail librarians, they do so incredibly much.
Absolutely.
And my friend was like, why apply at Barnes and Noble? Like there's like the bookstore down the street. And I was like, excuse me, huh? There are different types of bookstores. And like where I grew up, we didn't have indies, and like the Barnes and Nobles or the Borders were hours down the road. So like that was my only concept. Like, but we were very much a library family. I just like didn't know that you could like buy books places. But I walked into Indigo and was like, hello, I have open availability and I have an opinion about the Oxford comma. And they were like, all right, okay, we're listening. Pro Oxford comma, by the way. And once I started working there and was like, oh, this is the community connection that like libraries have, the talking about books with other like bookish people, that is what I really want to do all day, every day. Plus with the indie bookstore business, at least on my side of things, like I was getting to see what was coming up like coming down the line, what the new books were, what were things people were talking about, and getting to tell my friends, like, you love XYZ author. Did you know they have a new one on the way? And was like, oh, all right, this is it. I get it. Like, this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. And so I worked in several independent bookstores for a total of about 10 years before getting to the point of being like, you know what, I think I have the knowledge base and at least enough of like the acumen to try it on my own. And I definitely, like, a lot of that comes from my boss, Carla, from Chapters out in Seward. She retired last year, but she owned and ran that business successfully for 20 years, 20 years involving the rise of Amazon, Walmart coming to Seward, the 2008 recession, like ebooks, everything, like every single, like she weathered every storm that came down the horizon that everyone else in the world was like, oh, that's the end of bookstores. Bookstores will be no more. And she was like, yeah, bet. And she sold the business. Right. Yeah, exactly. Like, Carla has the business acumen. And I learned a lot from Indigo in terms of like values-based practice and connecting with the community. Not that we didn't do that at Chapters, but there was very little business acumen on that side of thing. It was more just like kind of good vibes. And then I went to Chapters and was like, oh, here's how you like actually drill down in the numbers. And here are the ways that you can like increase this thing and decrease that thing and like make this all work and make it continue to work so that it will continue to feed itself and go from there. So yeah, like I cannot say enough good things about Carla because she like is a boss babe. Like, she knew what she was doing, and that gave me the background to feel like I knew what I was doing.
Yeah, and like inspiring like the next wave of indie bookstore owners. Like,
exactly,
that fires me up. I love hearing all that. That's awesome. How do you decide what's on brand when it comes to like filling out your events calendar and even like filling out your space as well?
Something I have routinely asked myself for many years is just, does this align with my values? And am I honoring my values?
Yeah.
And if someone comes to me that like, I don't necessarily have like a pro or con, but I could see like that there's a value added that like, if they came into this space, I could see that other people would really appreciate that. Then it's like, yeah, all right, sure. Like, if there's nothing that like sets off red flags for me, I'm like, yeah, all right, like let's make this happen. If there is something that like sets off a red flag or just like makes me a little hesitant, the plus side of having like such a great relationship with other indie bookstores in the area and the libraries and the this, that, and the other thing, I can say like, hey, I'm not entirely sure that this is like quite our vibe, but let me send you, here's like another contact. Here's someone else that like might be a better fit for you. And I was talking about this today with like a couple folks at the store, because we're very outspokenly inclusive and welcoming. And if you walk into a space that says we love everyone and you feel excluded, then like, that's kind of a you problem. And maybe that's something to reflect on. Like, obviously not every single person who walks through our doors is going to be someone who is like, I am pitching my tent here and I am living here until the heat death of the universe. But every once in a while we do get some people who are like kind of given a bit of a side eye, and we are just as warm and kind and genuine as we would be with anyone else. And hopefully if there's, if they take away something from that interaction, it would be, okay, I went into this place where I saw things that didn't directly correlate with my beliefs or feelings or whatever, but I didn't feel like I didn't feel like they were judging me or that they didn't want me there, or it's like, no, they just like, they were happy to have me in that space. And so, okay, maybe if a space where like I walk in and I'm like, I'm not entirely sure about the vibe, but then the vibe is like, oh my gosh, thank you so much for coming and hanging out. And like, have you met the cats? And oh my gosh, look at this super cute sticker of an axolotl. And here's a picture book that you remember from your childhood or something. Like, I think there are a lot of those like very small inroads that can grow into something bigger.
Absolutely. The second I stepped in there, I just like felt like sunshine and warmth. So
I love that. I'm so glad to hear that.
So another thing also about like building your store was naming it after the parable of the sower. Why were you inspired by that title in particular?
Oh, dang. So that is a book that I have successfully sold to at least one person who has now become like a pretty close friend, where I was like, if I don't really tell you anything about this book, but I tell you that it like kind of became my religion, is that something that you would read? And he was like, well, that is a little bit of an odd elevator pitch, but he was also, this is while I was working in Seward at Chapters. Just, yeah, super nice guy who came in, we were shooting the shit, and I was like, yeah, this book. And he was like, okay. And because I was like, I had kind of an ongoing, not quite a bet with my friends, but I was like, if you don't know how to describe the book that means a whole lot to you, and you're just like, is this a religion you like? Is that something that customers will relate to? And I was like, so this is a different Tim. I've accumulated a lot of Tims. I don't know how. But I was like, other Tim, here's this book. And like, did that sales pitch work for you? And he was like, I can't say that it would regularly, but you caught me like as I'm going through kind of like an evangelical cycle. And so like my ears are open. So like all of that aside, if you don't know what Parable of the Sower is, listeners, Octavia Butler was a Black female sci-fi writer from like the 90s. And Parable of the Sower was written or published in, I think, 92. And it is an eerily prescient current future. It takes place starting in 2024. And it is a world where the world is on fire due to climate change. And minorities are disproportionately impacted by climate change. And Christofascism is on the rise. And other things that we can't possibly conceive of. And I had a lot of people tell me, oh my God, I don't know how you got through that book. It was so in the moment. It just felt too real. And my personal takeaway, I read it in the middle of COVID at the same time that a lot of my friends were starting to have babies. And I was seeing it takes a village. And when we were isolated from other people, like what we were still seeking was connection. And yes, we can look around and say, this world is garbage and it's not working for a whole heck of a lot of us. So what's the new plan?
Right.
What are we doing to move forward? We can see that this one's not working. What is the new world that we're going to build together? There are days where that optimistic view from the book are stronger than others. There are days where it does feel very futile, but generally speaking, and as over the course of a year, we have built a community of caring and helping and supporting one another. There's really only like so much we can do as individuals.
Exactly.
And once we turn to each other as a community, there's so much more that we can do to help each other.
Preach. And also, like, coincidentally, I was also thinking about how, like, Sower kind of could allude to, like, our Capitol building statue guy.
Yep. You got it, Emily. You got it. No, so I am an adoptive Lincolnite. I moved here for college and never left. I love the state. I love this city. Like, Lincoln just is my thing. And I live literally 2 blocks away from the Capitol. So as I was reading Parable of the Sower, and I was like, oh, this is so meaningful. This is so prescient. This is like really speaking to me. And I was like, we've got a sower. We have, whoa, I can't believe no one else in Nebraska has like made this. So we do have very much like, yes, Octavia Butler, and also proudly Nebraskan, proud of this place that I have chosen to make my home. And if you choose to make something your home, that means that every choice you make is reflective of the home that you want to build. And that goes so far beyond your front porch. If Lincoln is my home, then I am making a home for everyone in Lincoln.
Yes, like fighting for it, like building things, like planting the seed, whatever like metaphor resonates with people or with you individually.
Yep. Yep. And like proud Midwestern, like, you know, I might not be from like a farming family or whatever, but like, I admire and I respect the work that it takes to take like this land and turn it into something that fuels everyone and helps like so many communities. I don't know. It's that like, it just all keeps going and going, like positive feedback cycle.
Yeah, but it is going to take us all like working together.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a great segue. So why do you think reading is a radical act?
Oh man. So I am a born and bred bookworm. I don't remember this, but apparently I basically like my mom is a teacher librarian. She was an early ed teacher when she had me. She was so looking forward to teaching her own kids how to read. And yeah, I don't remember this, but apparently one day we had been reading one of the Ramona books for bedtime. Mm-hmm. And I came out of my room in the morning and said, "Oh, I finished the Ramona book last night." And I was like, "Oh, you flipped through and looked at the pictures?" And I was like, "No, like she did this and this and this." And I was like, "What the?" I was going to teach you to read, damn it. Like, you're my firstborn. I was excited about this. I was like, oh, well, I missed the boat, I guess. So I have always been using books as a way to see into worlds outside of my own. Yes. And it boggles my mind that anyone could pick up a book about someone from a different time, a different place, a different opinion, a different anything, and not take important things away from that story of, well, I've never experienced this, but I just read that someone else experienced it like this. And like,
yes,
the radical empathy of, they say there's this whole ongoing, evolving quote of books should be a door into your own experiences, and they should be a window that you can like look through and see other people's experiences, but they should also be a sliding glass door. They should be an open window. They should be a mirror for you to see yourself. They should, in every way, in every sense, books allow you to see yourself and allow you to see everything else around you. Yeah. And I think something that we're missing a lot of the time, especially like coming from a cis white lady, we hear about like we get to take away, like we walk into someone else's shoes in a book who is from a different race or a different ethnicity or whatever, and we get to understand that point of view. But I think that something that kind of gets glossed over is the importance of representation for anyone who is not a cis white lady. If you are a Black child and you've only ever read like Harry Potter, there's like no Black people in Harry Potter. Like you're hearing about all these kids at Hogwarts and none of them look like you. And what you take away from that, whether it's conscious or not, is, oh, I don't belong there. I'm not part of that conversation. Mm-hmm. And so anytime that we can have a different perspective presented that allows a different person to have like the ownership, to have that mirror, to be able to see like, yes, this is me in this circumstance, that is so deeply powerful with like in that context. Like, so books are both so fantastic for us to put ourselves in others' shoes, and also for others to get to wear their own damn shoes into the story and be like, look, I belong here.
Yeah, no, the question of like reading as a radical act is so multifaceted, because I think that the other part of it is kind of just critical thinking in general. And it's like reading does kind of strengthen these muscles of concentration, of like picking up on themes, of just like all of these things that, I mean, we kind of just don't really collectively maybe exercise as much anymore. So I think there's even like something we said there, just with like social media, we're all kind of like losing attention spans and just the kind of the ability to like think independently for ourselves.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there. And luckily I have not, my circles are very anti-AI and like never been. Yeah, right. Exactly. Have never been in favor of AI, because all we see is like all of the ways it just rots everyone's brain and uses obscene amounts of water and energy and everything. Like it's just bad all around. Yeah. And then also when it's like, well, screw that. paraphrasing a tweet I saw where it's like, why ask ChatGPT? I could make up an answer for you, and I would even look cute doing it. Like, if you want me to just make something up, just ask me. Like, don't ask why are we asking computers to make shit up? Like, that's for our brains.
Yeah, because the thing is, when you rely on that, like, firstly for like creating an image or even for composing text, it's like, I mean, you're not organizing your thoughts, you're not like using a skill, and it becomes all about like the product instead of the process. And so we're kind of like missing out on this huge thing that like makes us human in the first place. So that's why I've been against it.
Yes. Well, and without like going off on too much of a tangent, even just the concept of this is my very silly, very real world, very ADHD brain example. My friend and I were on a road trip to go to a book conference. We're driving, and so I think we saw like a VW bus or something, or maybe a slug bug. And we were like, oh, I have always wondered about like blah, 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 whatever thing relating to some sort of Volkswagen. And I Googled whatever the thing was, and I was reading the AI descriptor or whatever, their synopsis. And this has been nearly a year ago. So like at the time where we were like, oh, wait, what the is this synopsis? Like, I don't want you to summarize what you think you're saying. Whatever the thing was, I'm reading the synopsis, and it's like, blah, blah, blah. The Volkswagen Beetle, people liked it for its, the capacity. It could seat lots of people. And I'm like, are we talking like clown car here? Like how, what? And I click into the Wikipedia page from the AI synopsis, and no, it had skipped in the middle of its trying to tell me about the Volkswagen Bug, had skipped into the Volkswagen van or like the bus, and was like, oh, the bus people liked for its capacity. But then as I'm reading this article about different types of VWs, I end up down a rabbit hole of like a certain, I think it was called like the chicken tax wars of like the 70s or 80s. And it was this whole freaking thing where if you classified a certain type of light truck as like a farm implement rather than a vehicle, you got to like skirt some of these like taxations. And that's why this, that, and the other vehicle became popular in the US so that you could skirt this tax. And I'm just sitting here reading this, just like these chunks to my friend who's driving, and she's like, where did the chickens come from? Why is this called like the chicken tax? And it was some other random ass thing from, I think, like Carter or Reagan or whatever. Mm-hmm. But we ended up down this like absolutely ludicrous rabbit hole, chicken hole of like Wikipedia articles, learning all this random shit that if I had just read the AI overview that said people liked the Volkswagen Beetle because it had a large seating capacity and had moved on with my day, we would have never learned about the chicken tax wars.
You couldn't have gone
80s.
on that beautiful journey together with your friend.
And that is also the plus side. I was saying to someone earlier that like frickin' everyone at the store is neurospicy in some flavor. None of us can have an A to B conversation. It is A to A sub to A prime to C squared to, and eventually we get to B. But it's been a whole journey, the whole ride with all of us.
Yes, exactly. And we wouldn't have those beautiful brains any other way.
Don't let AI steal your sense of wonder when you're falling down a random Wikipedia rabbit hole. Like,
don't let it dull your shine.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah, no, there's like so much more I could go on about, but that's not what our episode's about. So I'm going to like keep moving forward instead of going
Put me
on my
some blinders on.
I have rants on this. Seriously. What are your 5-star reads of the year?
Oh, well, no. Now you've posed this question to me and I've forgotten what any book that ever existed was. I've never heard of a book. I've never seen a book. What are written words? One that I gushed about a couple times today at work was Angeline Bully is the YA author of, she wrote The Firekeeper's Daughter several years ago, which 5 stars, so good. It's an Indigenous teen in the upper peninsula of Michigan, whose family, she was born out of wedlock. Her father was Native. Her mother was a rich white girl in town. And her mother's family raised her and kept her like pretty insulated from the Native side of her family. But she wants to be part of the Native side of her family. And so the book is her coming into the community and learning the lore and learning the history and learning the teachings of her elders. And at the same time, there's a meth ring in town that like, because it's very, of the era. And she has been kind of like, she's sort of an undercover operative or like undercover cop or something with the FBI's like task force, like trying to track down. Cause she's like, my community's already been like torn apart by all kinds of different things. We don't need meth in here to make it even worse. So there's a little bit of like a murder mystery aspect, and there's a lot of like coming of age and found family kind of aspect. And I love Firekeeper's Daughter. And there's this new book by Angeline Bully that is called Sisters of the Wind. And it is like a year or two on from Firekeeper's Daughter. And the main character from Firekeeper's Daughter is in the story, and she's kind of like a sub-main character. But our main character is a young woman from the foster care system who was told her whole life growing up that, no, you have no Native history. You're just tan because we're Italian or something. She ends up in foster care after her parents have passed, and ends up someone else from her familial background finds her and is like, oh my God, you are part of our family, which has Native ancestry. And this girl's like, no, I'm white. And so then it becomes like this other aspect of Indigenous reality in the time of like, okay, you were told you were always one thing. You find out you're another thing. Like what is that whiplash like? Like people are like, we're here to be your family, and we're something that you have no connection to. And she's like, yeah, so I don't want that. And they're like, no, but we would really like you to be part of this. Like you don't have anyone else. Like we'd like to. So every single time Angeline Bully writes a book, it is another aspect of Indigenous life in all of the different ways that it's been like corrupted and co-opted and stripped away. And in some cases, like brought back, given back, earned back. But yeah, I can't say enough good things about her books. They're fascinating. And then she does have a third book that came out between the two stories, but that takes place further on in the story of another Indigenous girl who is working on repatriating Indigenous remains and artifacts from museums, which again is another piece of like, there's all these. Yeah, they're such good books, and they're so well written, and they're so interesting. And all of the main characters, I'm like, can you please be my best friend? Because you seem like really cool, and I would like to hang out with you more. Yes.
Tangent, but have you had like author events then at Sower? Because
we've had a couple. Yes, it's really more of how many hours in the day versus how many things we can juggle. Our very first author event that we had was like, we'd been open for like a month, and it was, oh my gosh, I'm just like gonna fangirl. A person I know through podcasting, her name is Margaret Killjoy, and she's a trans woman from Appalachia who like through growing up was like a gutter punk, was an anarchist, like it still is anarchist, like musician and like journalist and author and this, that, and 20 other things. And like, I just have her in the highest esteem. And literally day 2 of Sower Books being open, I got an email from her publicist saying, hey, we have this author named Margaret Killjoy who's coming through, and like, could we do a show? And I was like, I've peaked. All right. This person that like, I have no words for how much I respect her, they're requesting that she be in my space within like a month of me opening. Okay, that's it. We can shut down now.
Amazing.
But it was so amazing. Her book that she was touring with is called The Sapling Cage. And it is a young trans woman who wants to become a witch, and she joins the witch band as they're like moving through the area. It's fantasy. It's super interesting. And then Margaret herself is like a lore smith. Like some of her background includes like writing canon D&D novels. But yes, like we've had a couple of authors. We have one coming up in November, Kaylee Peterson. She is she's an adopted Nebraskan. She's an Asian American woman adopted to a white family here in Nebraska. But her debut novel, Sacrificial Animals, is horror. And I also really love horror. And she is being honored at the Nebraska Celebration of Books at UNL at the Student Union in November. And so she's going to be back in town. And she had reached out to me after I had reached out to her at some point, just being like, hi, horror girly, you're from Nebraska, let's be buds. And she's like, could we do an event? I was like, yeah, absolutely. So it's Friday night, November, I think it's the 14th or 15th, but we will be doing an after hours event with Kaylee Peterson to honor her and her debut novel here back in Nebraska before she gets like the official honor at the Celebration of Books.
That is awesome. And I love how many awesome book recommendations I've gotten from this conversation. So thank you for sharing all those nuggets.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm trying to remember a few of my 5-star reads from this year. So I just finished one today, Butter. I'm trying to remember the author's name. I think
last name is like a Y something.
Yeah, I was gonna say I know it starts with a Y. I was writing my review on Storygraph, and it's like escaping me because we're in a recording.
Well, yeah.
So anyway, so yes, Butter was fantastic, and I have high hopes for Martyr. Again,
Kava
author name is
El Akbar, I think.
Yes.
Something like that.
Yeah. That's been phenomenal. And I can't remember how I think I'm at least 50% done with the audiobook, and it's been so good. And then, in January, I read Yellowface by R.F. Kang.
Kwong, yeah.
Okay, yeah, by R.F. Kwong. And that was really, really good, and I'm very excited for Catabasis. Everybody's freaking out about it, and I haven't gotten to it yet, but I will. So
yeah, she is in her moment right now. Like,
seriously.
I cannot keep R.F. Kwong in stock. It is just like, do you have it? Do you have it? I'm like, I do. Yeah, I'm excited for her. Okay, cool. And I'm glad to hear that I literally had my hands on Butter earlier today because I was rejudging the shelves, like balancing everything out. And I had it in my hand because there was also a horror novel a couple of years ago titled Butter. And I was like, this isn't the same one, right? Like they haven't like repackaged it. It's like, okay, no, this is a different one. But then I was thinking about that. Yeah, no. So you mentioned that, and I literally was holding it earlier, and glad to hear that was a good read from you. Yeah,
definitely. So, anything else that you wanted to add that I did not ask you about?
I guess I'd just do a like general plug for independent bookstores and small businesses in general, the people in your community who are keeping money in your community, who are paying their actual taxes. I don't have a yacht, let alone 5. I have no interest in owning a yacht. Like, I would maybe like to get a new transmission for my 2008 Kia Spectra 5, with whom I have 230,000 miles on the books with. That would be my splurge. I don't want to go to space either. You'd have to pay me to go to space. Like, there's too much to do on this stupid planet to waste time going into space. Yeah. None of the billionaires are your friends. They don't need your money. They don't care about you as a human being.
They don't care about the planet.
Most of them are fascists at this point. Just remember, even if you have a small business in your area that might not be like as forthright in like, we want people to live happy lives. At the very basic minimum, they are most likely paying taxes, and those pave roads and pay teachers and firefighters. We don't care about the cops. But that, like, keep your money as local as you can, or just as small biz as you can. If it is someone who is an actual face doing a thing that they love, support them in that. Like, none of the big companies like you don't matter at all. I'm like, to not be so freaking blunt about it, but you do not matter to any of those people. You, Emily, walk into my store and I say, hey, how's it going? And if you say, honestly, I'm kind of having a bad day, I'd be like, all right, well, first, are you a hugger? Could I maybe give you a hug? And whether you are or aren't, here is the cat cave.
Exactly.
Please go in and like put some cats on your face and then you will feel better. Yes. And like, maybe you'll see a sticker that brings you joy. We deal in trinkets and like all of the little like 3D printed itty bitty teeny tiny like critters and things. And it's just like, hey, you're having a bad day. Here's a tiny piece of 3D printed cheese that you can put in your pocket. And when you pull it out later, you'll be like, oh, look at this teeny tiny 3D printed piece of cheese that I'm holding in my pocket. And like, everything is awful, but there are like, we will find the small joys.
Tiny joys.
Tiny joys. Just keep going, keep finding those stupid tiny joys. And I can speak as someone with, I consider myself disabled. I've dealt with huge levels of depression for a large chunk of my life, and finally have found the medication and the lifestyle that like balances me out. So like, I can say from a position of like, I have been in the deep depths, finding a fucking tiny joy can sometimes be really good. Yes. I am not saying, have you ever just like looked at the sunrise and like, how could you be sad when the sun is so beautiful? Like, screw off. But at the same time, I have a 3D printed bookmark that is a little capybara and it's purple. And he's just like sitting here with me, and beautiful. I'm like, look at that little purple capybara. That puts a little smile on my face. That's not the end all be all of existence. But like, if you don't find the tiny joys, then like, you're just going to get buried by like the huge, overwhelming big sads.
Yes, community and connection are really the only things that have gotten me through this year personally. And also, people are talking a lot about boycotting right now. And like, honestly, just like the easy peasy way to do that is just support local as much as possible. Yeah. And I mean, none of us can be 100% perfect at that. So
true. Like, be an informed consumer is like my first thing. Like, at least whatever choice you're making, make it from a position of you have researched what, or you have at least considered what the implications or what the alternatives are. And if you cannot afford to buy something from a small local business, I get it. Like, we're all freaking broke. None of us are billionaires. But if there is something small that you can shift, or if at least you're buying that thing from Walmart with the knowledge that like someday I hope to not buy this thing from Walmart, like that is still a step in the right direction. Like, baby steps should never be discounted. Like, we will get wherever we are as long as we're like thinking about where our steps are coming from and going to.
Yeah, any effort is effort. And I also think that that's another thing. It's like easy to get discouraged, but any like, even if a tiny action feels like, whatever, like that was still better than doing nothing. I mean, as a always recovering perfectionist, it's just like a constant refrain to myself. So
yes, what is it? Don't let perfection be the enemy of progress.
Exactly.
Yeah. Just make a little tiny choice. And you know what? Even if you come to my bookstore and you don't buy anything, that's fine. Like, I am just glad that you came in to like get some good vibes, or to like get some kitten times, or to just like feel like a respected human being in a space. And sometimes staff is having like the wildest freaking conversations, and we, not in like a crowd participation or audience participation way, but every once in a while you'll get roped in where I'm like, okay, can I get a vote here? So if someone said blah, 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 like, or I'll ask people when I'm sitting there in front of a shelf, I'm like, I don't know where to shelf. Like, this is a memoir about a person with a physical disability. Should that go in memoirs, or should it go in like our body and brain section for it being like a disability story? And sometimes people will give me like really insightful comments, and I'm like, all right, cool. Like, I was just kind of a toss up, and you've firmly pushed me towards one side or the other. And like, thanks for that feedback. I appreciate hearing that from like fellow human being. Thank you.
Organic community, like things you can't like commodify.
Exactly. It's the community. It's the found organic community of like a bunch of weirdos hanging out and being goofuses together.
Yes. And yeah, I mean, from the one time I was there, I can vouch that the vibes are immaculate. Okay, with that, we are entering into the recurring ending segment. What is your current favorite thing?
My current favorite thing is my best friend, Cameron. Our parents have been friends since before either of us were born. He and I, we've known each other forever. We've lived states apart, but we clicked right before pandemic started because we're both big time sad kids. And so like we helped each other through like really, really deep, sad pits. And I have finally gotten him to move here to Lincoln.
Yes.
And he is currently staying, he's a house guest with us. He is working for me at the store. And the fact that like, I see my best friend every day and I'm just like, hi, you're here. And like, if you are sad, then I am here as a person to like give you some snacks and like tuck you in for a nap. And like, if you need a cuddle because you're having a big sad, then like, I'm not just a voice on the phone. Like you are here and I can like, we can take care of each other. We can help each other. We can help our friends. Like it's so much building the community, building the family, the world that you really want to see. So my favorite thing right now is my bestie.
Nobody has mentioned a person, so that's amazing.
Yes, I win.
Yeah, it was a first on the podcast. Okay, so my favorite thing, pretty much all of fall. I mean, fall maxing right now, but specifically, I would say Artemis Tea in Omaha. I've mentioned them before, but there's a new thing, which is that they just renovated their space, and they actually moved too, but they're still in Blackstone District, and so they have a conservatory now. And you know, even before they had this big space, it was like books and, you know, cool things to buy. And obviously, like, all of their teas, they have so many amazing loose leaf tea blends that are all like so thoughtfully curated. They're incredible. But yeah, it just like has the best energy. And so I got to visit that on Saturday and it was like, oh yeah, they kept like the wonderful energy that they had before, but they've just like been able to expand it in a really thoughtful way. So
love to see that.
Thank you so much for joining today and talking about your shop. And I just am so glad that there's another amazing indie bookstore in Lincoln.
And I am so grateful that you reached out, and this was an absolutely lovely conversation, delightful, as one might say. Our space is open to anyone and everyone. We've got free Wi-Fi. We have several like tables and like couch areas set up if you like need to come in and do homework or like work from home. The space is available for anyone to use.
I'm so grateful to Tory and her amazing team for bringing this bright spot of sunshine to Lincoln. Go check it out when you have the chance, and also let me know what your favorite books of the year have been. I could always use more reading recommendations. And that's it for this episode of Nerdlandia. Tune in next month for a conversation with Katie Nealand about her art and work with the Center for Great Plains Studies. See you then. Nerdlandia is hosted, produced, and edited by Emily Case Buskirk. Theme song and ending credit music by Keith West. Cover art by Ellen Stebbings. Additional music from Pixabay.
One of the jokes, the podcast I know her from is called Behind the Bastards, and it's very dark comedy about all the worst people in history. And so it's like, ha ha ha, and then everyone died. I'm like, ha ha ha.